Krown Produce secures produce locally and from around the world for Canadian retailers. Krown Produce is also proud to secure sponsorship of university football on Shaw. Krown Produce, supporting Canadian retailers and Canadian amateur football. Rouge, Laval continues their defense. Golden, the Gales get their revenge. And red, the Dinos get a wake-up call. Krown Countdown U starts counting down now.
Hey everybody, welcome to Krown Countdown U. I'm Ryan Sullivan, that's Andrew Wadden, and it is postseason time in the CIS.
Ryan, the year was 1973. Tell me what specifically went down in that year.
Jim Mullin throws out his dashiki.
That is correct. He was also a senior in high school, and I believe he was rocking REO Speedwagon shirts. However, it was also the last time the Manitoba Bisons beat the Saskatchewan Huskies in the playoffs. Brian Doby was catching passes that year. Let's get to the highlights and see if the Bisons could beat history.
Heck Crichton hopeful Anthony Coombs looking to beat the Huskies for the first time in the playoffs since 1973, back when that man, Bison's head coach Brian Doby, was running routes for the Herd. Early first cue, Bison's QB Jordan Yance gets bit by the Huskies secondary. Dylan Camp with the INT. That led to a field goal. Green Dogs on the board first. The Herd would add a three-banger of their own to even things up. Then Yance channels his inner Fran Tarkenton, rushing deep into the Huskies' territory. The very next play, Coombs goes to work. He's number one in your program and also pretty darn good at making defenders look silly. Coombs with the major. Manitoba takes its first lead. Minutes later, the Bisons build on that lead. Yance goes deep to the end zone, right into the hands of his former VI Raider teammate, Andrew Smith. The Herd are rumbling. They take a 17-5 lead into the brew break. Second half, and the Green Dogs come out howling. Burko goes to the air to a wide open Kit Hillis. Takes it all the way to Moneyland. Bison's lead cut to 5. Later in the queue, Burko continues the gunsling. He fires into double coverage right to Mr. Vidal Sassoon. Mitch Stevens comes down with the leather. And like his flow, his hands are also a thing of beauty. That leads to this. Burko to the other Mitch and the other Hillis. Mitch Hillis with the major. Huskies retake the lead. So Dancing Gabe starts doing, well, whatever that is to get the Bisons motivated. But it's the Huskies who continue to bite. Burko and his newfound golden arm hook up once again with Stevens. Saski lead grows to 12. But Yance has a cannon of his own, and he puts it on display, goes to the air. Nick Dembski comes down with it. Touchdown Bisons. Check out the celebration from Dembski. Scores high in originality, but nothing to pick. Isn't he turning the pages wrong? I don't know. I like it. However, right back the other way, Burko cattle prods the Herd again, hits Mitch Hillis on the sideline, who battles his way into the end zone. The Zebras talked it over, but it was clear he crossed the goal line. Huskies lead back to 12. Just over 5 to go in the game. Yance in Saski's red zone connects with Dembski once again. That's his second major of the game. Bison's down 5 and refusing to go away. $1:30 left now in the game. Yance airborne once again. Dembski, that's right, he hauls it in. This is what playoff football is all about. The Herd up by 1. They miss on the 2-point conversion. So, Huskies still have life. Yance tries to get the hometown crowd to their feet. Burko drives his squad down within field goal range. Denton Kolodinsky with a chance to take the Huskies to the Hardy.
This is the most important kick of Denton Kolodinsky's life from the 44. It's into the line. He He squibs it, got the top of the football, and the Manitoba Bisons are on to the Hardy Cup.
Not gonna drop the cliche laces outline here. That, my friends, was flat out shanked. Bisons are going to the Hardy with what was CIS football at its finest. Gantz had less yardage, one more pick, but he still came out with the victory. Burko with what was his best performance of the year. Nick Dembski was hands down the player of the game. 7 catches, 115 yards, 3 majors. The Bisons are in the Hardy looking to take the Canada West Championship for the first time since '07.
A very snowy, very cold, very ugly McMahon Stadium. A pretty big scenery change from a week ago when UBC visited Cowtown for this one. UBC, to their credit though, came out of the gates hungry and ready. Carson Williams hooking up with Alex Morrison on their first drive. A pickup of 38. He then decides to keep it himself. UBC scratches the board first. It's 7-blank for the Birds. Not such a hot start for Andrew Buckley. He gets picked here by Jordan Bosa, and Bosa takes it back 21 yards before hopping on the white slip and slide. What was Andrew Buckley looking for exactly? See, there's that guy that runs through. Interesting. Anyhow, it's UBC football, and on their very first play after the pick, Carson Williams looks to the air and finds Josh Grunstrom from 35 out. Touchdown, UBC. They lead 17-blank over the best team in the Canada West this past season. Calgary down, but they're not out by a long shot. Here, Buckley pulls a little flare out to Mercer Timmis, and the big red truck hits the gas. He picks up a nice chunk of change, leading to this Buckley hookup with Jake Hardy. Now, the Stamps have the running course after each touchdown. The Dinos have the snowblower guy, and look at him go. Joe Sakic, get your hand out of there. Calgary down 10 after 1 Q. Second quarter, and it's all Dinos. Johnny Mark doesn't just split the pipes once, not just twice, but twice. From 41, 34, and 10 yards out, Calgary leads at the halfway break 18-17. Third quarter, Brandon Deschamps takes the pigskin. The Dinos felt more inclined to just bounce off him rather than tackle him. A huge pickup for the big man. And of course, it would lead to him getting the call right afterward from 22 yards out. A nice little jaunt for 33. UBC takes their lead right back. It's 24-18. Blake Nill then has a fever, and the only prescription is Dr. Goal Line. Mercer Timmis checks in, and he goes airborne. He'd get the nod from 2 out just 6 minutes later as well. Barrels his way in once again. UBC gets blown out of Calgary and the playoffs 42-28. Brandon Deschamps with a great effort. 184 yards on the ground and a touchdown for him. While Mercer Timmis, the guy did it again. A staggering 32 touches, 164 yards, and 2 majors for your 2013 CIS regular season touchdown king.
The stage is now set for the Hardy Cup. Calgary playing host to Manitoba. The Bisons looking to snap the Dinos' 5-year run of Hardy titles. 2 Heck Crichton hopefuls will be squaring off between Anthony Coombs of the Bisons and Mr. Goal Line Mercer Timmis of the Dinos. Plenty of meat to sink your teeth into in this one. Don't you dare miss it.
It's time again for the Krown Countdown you coined Aor Bowl. You got the green, you got the red, and the gold. Laval and Sherbrooke going toe-to-toe to kick off perhaps a title defense.
Let's head out to Peps, the Rouge et Or ready to rock. That's a beautiful sight right there. The REO faithful ready to watch the start of their title defense. Turnovers were the story for Sherbrooke in this one. Early on, Jeremy Doyon Rock connects with Fumble Goulet. Gabriel Goulet catches a dose of Butterfingers, and it's Laval football. Throw a few points up for each heading into the second, and it's J-Rock connecting with Christopher Laveau. Only problem is, Laveau wears a red jersey. J-Rock not so much. Laundry would hit the field on this one, negating the pick. It is noteworthy though. No laundry for this one. Jean-Philippe Bolduc pulls down the Doyon Rock. Then, it's Alexander Hovington. On the final play of the first half, he makes the pick and decides to go for a run. He'll need to take it back all the way with the clock burned out completely, and the effort is tremendous. He sees the hole, he almost hits it. Very close. Nonetheless, Laval leads at the break by 2. Third quarter and the first touchdown hits the board. Felix Faubert-Lucier grabs the blooper touche for the red and gold, and they're going nuts in the Quebecois. Alex Skinner would find Faubert-Lucier again, but this time he takes an absolute lick after the toss. The kid with the same birthday as Artemis Pyle goes down in a heap. He would stay in the game. By the way, Pyle, he's the drummer for Leonard Skinner. I know you knew that already. Pascal, call me the breeze. Lachard bangs one in for points soon after. This one is done. Jeremy Doyon-Rock, no touchdowns, 3 picks for Sherbrooke. He had a rough day at the office, to say the least. 2 touchdowns for Skinner. Pascal Lachard, though, call me the breeze. 14 runs, 117 yards, and a major in the Laval victory.
Bishop's hosting a playoff game at Coulter Field for the first time in 19 years, but you wouldn't have guessed it as Montreal's offense exploded on the Gaiters. Manuel Chrissy Lazone, shown here, had a big day on the ground, as did his running back partner, Sean Thomas Erlington, who scored 2 touchdowns for the visitors. Montreal goes into Coulter and gives the Gaiters a beatdown, 51-8. As mentioned, Thomas Erlington with a big game, rushing for 81 yards while scoring those 2 touches. Chrissy Lazone rushed for a game-high 108 yards on 14 carries while scoring the 1 major. In his final CIS game of his career, Bishop's pivot Jordan Heather, he didn't fare too well. However, his favorite target, Alex Fox, posted a game-high 124 yards on 9 catches. Bishop's dream season comes to an end, while Montreal is moving on to face Laval for a 3rd straight year in the Dunsmore.
All right, let's take a look now at your Dunsmore Cup final. Laval, the Rouge et Or, they've been tremendous all year long. Alex Skinner looking pretty solid there, taking on the Montreal Carabins.
Revenge. Some say it's a dish best served cold. Could the Griffins beat Queens? Could Queens get revenge on the Griffins? It was cold at Richardson. Let's get to the highlights.
Let's head to Kingston, where it was a wet and soggy affair between the Griffins and Gales. Stu Lang and Pat Sheehan facing on for the 2nd consecutive year in the OUA semis. Early first cue, Gales strike first. Ryan Granberg muscles his way into the end zone for the major. Home side now with the early lead. Minutes later, the Griffins get it right back. Jazz Lindsay on play action, rolls out of the pocket, fires to the back of the end zone, right into the hands of brother Saxon. Tie ball game. 12th then takes its first lead. Jazz fires to a wide open Adre Fraser, who cashes his check into Moneyland. Griffins up by 1. Flash to the 4th. Gales pivot Billy McPhee, not known for his mobility, well, he busts through with a massive run, looking like a spry young Steve Young. That put the Gales on the Guelph doorstep, and that led to this major from Granberg, his 2nd of the day. Minutes later, they put the game on ice. McPhee over the middle to Scott McDonald. The big man from Montreal takes it 39 yards to pay dirt. The Gales avenge their loss to the Griffins in last year's Yates Cup semi with a 34-17 win. McPhee with the better game between the 2 pivots, but it was Granberg and McDonald who rode the Gales to victory. Queens is now off to the Yates Cup final for the first time since 2009.
Western hosting the 2-time defending OUA champs, the McMaster Marauders. First cue, Will Finch avoids a sack. You gotta make that tackle. He hits his tackle, Kadeem Adams. That's a 26-yard pickup. It leads to a 3-banger. Third quarter now, and from the 5, it's the great purple ninja, Yannick Haru. Touchdown, Mustangs. Haru wasn't done there. He takes this one 32 yards, a little shake and bake through the gut. He'd set up an easy scoring play to follow. Western wins 32-3. Yannick Haru, 112 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns for the Western back. Wayne Moore had a decent day, 124 yards on 19 carries for the Mac back. Their Yates title defense is no more. See what I did there? All right, let's take a look at your 2013 Yates Cup matchup. Western, the Mustangs, they have looked tremendous all year long, hosting the Queens Gales. just knocked off, as you know, Guelph Griffins.
The Mounties are off to the Loney Bowl for the first time since 1998 after defeating Acadia for a second consecutive week. Jordan Botel was the workhorse for the Mounties on this day, rushing for a game-high 90 yards on 24 carries. However, it was Kwame Adje's 40-yard pick six late in the game that sealed the win for Mount A.
For the first time in 15 years, Mount Allison will return to the Loney Bowl, and the team that they will be facing, the St. Mary's Huskies.
Well, last week, I bet Jim, I bet Andrew that if Queens won, I would wear the Queens helmets. Not that I had anything against Queens. I thought they had a very legit shot. But, thanks a lot, Guelph. I'm not sending my kids there anytime soon.
Boy, you're going to be eating your words. All your friends that you have at Western are going to be so miffed at you wearing a Queens helmet. I'll tell you what. If Queens beats Western, you got to wear it for a full episode next time.
If Queens beats Western?
That's right.
All right. Joke's on you. I don't have any friends. Coming up next, the Roundtable. This is Krown Countdown U.
It's true. I hate him.
Now it's time for the 3-minute warning brought to you by Kiah Grant and Associates. This week, Jordan Heather of the Bishop's Gaiters. Well, Jordan, you've had some impressive seasons that have flown below the radar, but how satisfying is it for you to have your best season as a fifth-year quarterback?
It's really special to me. I've played with my teammates and stuff here for a few years now, and a lot of our starters, no offense, were seniors. So for me to have the kind of year I had this year and help the team have a good record going into the playoffs was really important for me. And like I say to everybody I've talked to so far about it, the records and season I had this year, it's not just about me and my performance. It's like my whole team came together. My offensive line stepped up and performed. My receivers, Alexander Fox and Jeff Coventry, they stepped up, and it's a real team effort this year.
Let's talk a little bit about Alexander Fox, your favorite target on the year. What does he bring to the game, and what sort of weapon was he for you this year?
He's just so dynamic, we put him in there. He goes against the sandbackers a lot, and I don't think there's a sandbacker in the league who can cover him. He makes his money going in the middle and running some deep routes for us too. He's an unreal athlete. He makes people miss. He can turn a 20-yard pass over the middle into a 60-yard touchdown. So he's unreal.
As for you, the discussion has now switched to the talk around the Heck Creighton Trophy. A lot of people are painting it as a one-on-one battle between yourself and Will Finch. Have you had the opportunity to see much of Will Finch, and what do you think about all the Heck Creighton talk? Because I can tell you that on our panel here on Countdown U, you are the unanimous selection.
Thanks a lot for that. That's quite an honor. But I haven't really seen much of the highlights from there. I've kind of been focusing on just our games, one game at a time. I think that if I was able to get to that point and win that trophy, it'd be a great honor. But if not, I'm content with the season I have with my teammates, and even a nomination would be a huge deal for me.
Now that you're at your end of your university career, where does it go from here? I know one of our panelists, Billy Green, is looking to play quarterback in Sweden. Have you thought about maybe taking your talents to Europe after graduation?
Yeah, 100%. I know it's tough for the CFL right now with Canadian quarterbacks. It's kind of unfortunate that way, but I feel like if I was able to get an opportunity over there, I'd take it. It'd be a great life experience to go play in Europe and be able to travel around, and just to keep playing football for a couple more years. That'd be awesome.
Well, Jordan, thanks very much for this. Appreciate it. It's been one heck of a year for you and the Gators, and best of luck in the national awards.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Hey, welcome back to Krown Countdown U. It's time for the Roundtable. The panel is here. We have Jim Mullin at the end of the table. We have Andrew Wadden right here, and live via Skype, even though it looks like we just can't seem to get Magnum PI reruns off our screen. That's actually JP Shoiry, live from Quebec, former Sherbrooke slinger, and from Republic. JP, how you doing?
I'm good, guys. Thanks for having me on.
Always a pleasure, my friend. We're going to start things out with opening kickoff, some headlines from around the CIS in the first week of official playoff action for most conferences. We're going to start things out with Jim Mullin.
Well, the CFL is going through an interesting process right now when it comes to player availability for the CFL draft. At the start of the year, they decided that, okay, they were going to go with players who had played 4 years from their first game when it came to the draft. And then they said, whoa, all of a sudden, we got this team from Ottawa joining us, named the Ottawa Red Blacks. They're going to need Canadian players. So now they're kind of falling back to the old rule where they're letting guys declare for the draft if they're going into year 3 or 4, depending if they are a red shirt or not. This is a little confusing. You kind of wish that the CFL would have stuck with the 4-year rule for clarity for coaches in the CIS to recruit, but that's the way it's going to go. Unfortunately, you're going to lose a couple of pretty talented guys in the CIS due to this new rule that the CFL is working on. They haven't announced it yet, but they will be announcing it soon.
Fresh out of the barber's chair, Andrew Wadden.
Well, we featured him on our 3-minute warning this week, but I want to give some praise to the 5th-year senior out of Bishops, Jordan Heather. Just a fantastic season, one of the best single seasons in CIS history by a quarterback. Led his Gaiters to a 6-2 campaign. Jordan is obviously one of the prime candidates for the Heck Crichton Award. If he was to win it, he'd be only the 2nd player to come out of the queue to actually have won the Heck. I know that seems really surprising as a stat to say, but it's true. Jordan Heather, I want to give you praise once again, and thank you for having such an amazing season and bringing Bishops really back to life, although they died pretty hard over the weekend.
Well, fair enough. I'll go to JP. A big headline that struck you over the weekend.
Well, you're talking about Jordan Heather, and I just want to make a point around the whole Bishops organization. Obviously Jordan's had a monster season at BU, posting, the most passing yards ever by a CIS quarterback in one season. But you got to talk about his receiver, Alexander Fox. As Jordan is probably one of the leaders for the Heck Crichton, Alexander Fox could as well be the MVP of the conference as well. Posted over 20 touchdowns in a career. I believe it's a new record for the most career touchdowns for a receiver. So, he's just a playmaker, making plays, on the return game, catching footballs, running with the ball. And my last praise of the weekend is still with Bishops. Got to go with Coach Kevin Mackey, head coach of the BU Gaiters. Had a team last year at the bottom of the league. And this year, finishing 2nd, hosting a playoff game at BU. So really, that program is on the rise right now, and it's only good to see finally an English program in the conference making some positive strides to the top.
See, now there's some people are hand talkers. You're a football talker. I like that, JP. You can take the man out of the quarterback, but you can't take the quarterback out of the man. We're going to go to objectionable conduct now. We're going to start things out with Andrew Wadden.
Well, I'm going to go right to the Queens and Guelph game, and I'm going to go right to one player. His name was Dre Fraser, a receiver from the Guelph Griffins. Catches a touchdown early in the game to put the Griffins up 14-13 and gives it one of these as his celebration afterwards. I'm sorry, Dre, but you don't give it one of these until you've actually won the game. They ended up getting outscored 21-3, lost the game 34-17. So if anybody needed to go like this, it was Billy McPhee and the boys from the Gales, because they did it to your Griffins, and they did it in style.
But doing it in style, that was Nick Dembski's job when it came to a celebration. Turning the page, maybe rifling through the magazine, though.
I did
right?
say in the highlight pack, I had to be nitpicky about the Nick Dembski celebration, because although it was very, very, very high in originality, he turned the pages the wrong way.
I was rifling through the magazine.
I guess.
It's the in-flight magazine because he's hopping on a plane and he's going to Calgary to the Canada West Finals.
Well, he led them there, that's for sure.
Okay, I might as well take objectionable conduct
Absolutely.
right now. My objectionable conduct is against Canada West officiating, because in the game between UBC and Calgary, basically these guys made the same mistake twice. Rashawn Simonize had a great return, stepped out of bounds 3 times on this return, and there was no whistle. And there were 2 officials within 5 yards of the guy. He took off down the field for another 20 yards, turning what would have been maybe a field goal attempt into something that was easily convertible into a touchdown, which is exactly what it was that happened. So This is something that happened in the semifinal last year between Saskatchewan and the Regina Rams, with Colton Solomon stepping out of bounds. Guys, you got to not make the same mistakes twice. The officiating at key times with an all-star crew that was there really let us down in that game.
Does that come down to the snowblower guy, though? We saw him in the highlight pack. We featured him. Is that his fault?
Well, you know what? It's hard to make these calls on sidelines in these snow games, but the line was cleared away. And as I pointed out in the semifinal last year at Taylor Field, there was snow on the ground. It was missed, but it's where the officials' eyes are pointing. They're both looking at players upfield when they're on the sidelines, instead of at least one of them taking the responsibility for seeing if the guy's in bounds or not. And it changed the face of the game.
True enough. Out to JP.
And I had a quick chat with Jim prior to this Skype call, and I know you guys have talked about it, a bunch these past couple of weeks. But what about the safeties this year in the CIS? I was watching the football game 2-3 weeks ago, Sherbrooke against Laval, and Sherbrooke surrendered not one, not two, but 6 safeties in one game. That's 12 points. That's almost getting 2 touchdowns to the other team. Like, in what other sport do you give out points that easily to a football team? I mean, I'm sick of the safeties right now. You're just giving out points. It's not good for the game. We need to find something to, make the game better. We're the laughing stock of football world right now, giving out safeties like that.
Hey,
Yeah.
Here it is. Make the safety worth 3 points.
I think we were going to use the men without hats, the safety dance, right? You can dance if you want to, and next time we do an RSEQ pack.
Yeah, I like that. If you start the rally, JP, I will march with you on the front lines for that one, absolutely. Games of the week now. We got to be quick. Jim Mullin.
I'm going to go with Queens Western, even though we have Manitoba-Calgary on our Shaw game. I think Manitoba-Calgary is just going to be a blowout. Queens Western might be a little bit closer. It will give us a good gauge to see where the Western Mustangs are at against a very top-rated Queens team who seems to be getting their offense together. If Western can get some momentum from this game versus Queens at home, which is a game they should win, look for them to steamroll the Calgary Dinos in the national semifinal.
Andrew, 10 seconds or less.
I'm going with the Loney Bowl. I mean, first time that the Mount A has been in it since 1998. They beat SMU twice this year. They've beat SMU on their home field this year. So I like Mount A right now. They've won 4 in a row. And to be honest with you, I just really want to see a national semifinal played in Macaulay Field, because you never know what would happen on that field, because it's advantage Mounties every time they play there.
JP, take us home, buddy.
Gotta go with the famous Laval, Montreal at the Peps, in Quebec City, the 2 best teams of the conference. They went at it twice this season. Laval won both times, but you know what? Both times under 200 yards passing with the football. First time with Tristan Gano, second time with Alex Kiris. What's gonna happen this time? And playoff football is one. Running the football. Last week, Montreal exploded over the Gaiters with, over 4 touchdowns, over 200 yards, name it. With 3 running backs with running the football. So, who's going to run the football most effectively? Laval, Montreal. Well, we might as well know who's going to go play, in the Maritimes for that national semi next week.
All right, for JP from Republic in Sherbrooke, Jim Mullin, Andrew Wadden in studio, I'm Ryan Sullivan. Thanks for joining us on Crown Countdown U, and here is our Power 8.
Here's my playoff Power 8. Number 8, Manitoba. The Herd's defense needs to match their offensive weapons. 7, St. Mary's. Will home field be enough for the Salty Dogs? 6, Mount Allison. Jordan Botel has found his game in the right month. 5, Calgary. Winning the Can West should be the easy part for the Dinos. 4, Queens. Home win for the Gales may be their parting gift. 3, Montreal. The Carbs had chances their last time at Peps. 2, Laval. Get by Montreal and it's through to a maritime holiday. And number 1, Western. Purple Ponies are still stampeding. Thanks for watching Crown Countdown U, as Countdown has Countdown.